with you guys my biggest mistake ever, and make mistakes as there are lessons to be learned in those. You can actually admit that you went wrong in certain ways.
I could tell by your smile you hadn't been with a good girl like me in a while. Yeah, you were impressed, couldn't leave me alone. Text me every time that you pick up the phone.
Hello everyone and welcome to A Woman's Empire. I'm sharing today with you guys my biggest mistake ever. And before I do that, I just wanted to let you know that it is completely fine to make mistakes, as there are lessons to be learned in those mistakes as well. And as long as you keep an open mind and you observe yourself and you observe where you went wrong, or you can actually admit that you went wrong in certain ways, this is already the key to your personal growth and to evolving in the person that you are becoming here on earth. So regarding those mistakes, let's have a closer look on making mistakes, because this is just a common thing. We do things we think we should do, and then often they turn out to be very time invasive things that we regret, things that we resent ourselves for, which doesn't make any sense at all. Because these mistakes lead us every time a little bit closer to who we truly are. And soon my self-worth bundle will be online available, and in that bundle you can actually find yourself and find who it is that you truly are and what your value system is here. And these values, of course, during the years, they tend to change sometimes as well, because what you valued when you are young often seems not so valuable anymore when you become older, and the other way around. So when we tend to do things that we think we should do and not really listen to what we feel that we should do, we tend to make mistakes, and we tend to do things that other people think are best for us to do, which seem logical for us to do as well, because that's how we've been raised, that's what we've been told. So this must be the way, because we haven't had any other experience. Yet often we found ourselves stuck in certain situations which we think, like, why did this happen, or why is this happening to me right now, because this is not feeling right anymore, or this is not really what I want to do for myself in the first place. And yet we tend to do these things. So what is this urge of doing things going against our will? Well, it's very easy. We've been brought up in a certain way, and especially, for example, when I speak out of my own experience, or when you are, for example, a woman, we've been raised with the impression that we have something to prove. And often, and this is valid for everyone, or like most of the people that I worked with or that I encountered, but we often feel that we are not good enough and we need to prove ourselves in order to be validated, or in order to be good enough, whether it is in our jobs, in our relationships, or in our business. But very often we see this in our jobs, and we see this as well when we want to start our own businesses, that we feel that we have to step into this very masculine power and prove our point, and fight for things in order for them to become ours. And often that doesn't come from a natural desire, because when you are a woman, and when you are a very feminine woman, this comes very unnatural for you. Like this drive, it comes more from a logical or rational thing, or a belief system, rather than it comes from a feeling. Because we are women and we can be very passionate in business, very, very passionate in business. But that doesn't mean that we do business in the same way as men do business. So we can tap into our masculine energy when we are executing certain things in our job, or we are doing our business, and we can put on our masculine hat as well. yet it doesn't come natural. And there is another way as well to make these things much more easier and receive with much more flow. Receiving things in business, receiving your job more in a natural flow, doing your job in a more natural flow. And it all starts with feeling good enough with who you are, not with what you are doing, not because of your actions, but because of who you are. And when you believe in yourself, this is as well something that other people will start to see in you and will also appreciate in you. And they will not really be able to pinpoint what it is exactly, but they will start to show you respect, and they will start to believe in you as well as a person, in order for you to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve in life much more easier and with much more flow and with much more grace. And this is something very specific, and we all tend to do this, and I am guilty as well, which brings me to my biggest mistake ever, which is that I am somebody that I really like advice of other people, and I couldn't distinguish when the advice was actually criticism that I could build something on and that I could work with, and distinguish it from people advising me in order to protect me because they actually love me or they care for me and they don't want me to get hurt, and they don't, for some people the things that I wanted to do were very irrational and very insane and very risky, but for me they felt like the most normal thing in the world because it was a desire. It came from a desire, not from some unrealistic image that I got somewhere. And even though I was so determined in my desire and I was so certain of what I felt I should do, I tended to do what other people were telling me to do, and I tended to believe what other people told me I should believe. And especially when I was in Belgium, it was more easy for me because I already built something. I already had an environment in which I was operating. I already had a network that was sustainable. I already had an income. I already had a home. I already had a car. You build sustainability for yourself, and that gives you confidence that what you were doing before is actually working. And then when you move out of that comfort zone and you enter a completely new continent, a new world, a new culture, this really makes you feel anxious, but also very passionate and very excited at the same time. But this anxiety starts to dominate at a certain point, and you start to tend to become very reliable on certain people, and you start relying on other people's opinions rather than your own, and rather than following what you feel. And what I had to learn, and especially in the last 2 years, is really, really, really to become self-sufficient, which means becoming self-sufficient in the feeling that you have and in trusting that feeling. And I made the biggest mistake when I started listening to everyone else's opinion, and that made me doubt myself even more. And when I stopped doing that, and I just stopped talking about it as well, and asked people for advice who I felt I could trust and who I felt had the same vibe like I did, I started to distinguish both. I started to learn to take advice of people who actually, are where I want to be or already inspire me. And I know that this is the vibe that I want to be on. And that was the advice that I took. And that was as well advice that resonated with how I felt on the inside. So that made me grow. And all the limiting beliefs and all the people who were talking to me and saying but maybe you should take it down a notch, maybe this isn't for you, or maybe you should go back to Belgium, or maybe you should find it a regular job, or maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do that, very limiting thoughts, which I understand from their perspective, but I learned to stop talking about that with these people, and that is completely fine because I care about them a lot, and I see as well which value they have in my life but I know that's where my limit goes, and I will just not, discuss these things anymore. And I will just tend to focus on myself and trust my gut feeling, and I will show them the results after. And this is also something that I could advise you when you are currently in a job that you don't really like. Try to see the positive. Try to hold on what is it bringing you. Is it still, making you have an income which makes you sustain in these times? Then focus on that, and you will find much more things you will like in the job in the meantime, and as well encounter a lot of people and a lot of opportunities that may give you an opportunity to step into another job or to open up your own business if that is what you want. It doesn't matter what it is that you want. What truly matters is that you trust yourself, and that if the desire is there, that it's already yours. It's only just a matter of time before it comes into your experience, and it will when you are ready. And the sooner you scratch out all the negativity and all the comments and all the limiting beliefs of other people, or the beliefs that you are still telling yourself, the sooner this will become visible in your reality. And this is just the biggest advice I wanted to give to you, and as well my biggest mistake. Just never trust anyone else than yourself, and take advice from the people, or sit with the people that inspire you and that already experience these things and that are already there. And the other ones, they can be your friends or your family, or it doesn't matter, or your partner. And if they are not supporting, or they try to protect you, see them as well with compassion, and appreciate that they just tell you this to protect you and not to put you down or to weigh you down. See it for what it is, but don't have these conversations with them anymore, and just show them what you are capable of afterwards, but not to get the validation of them, just because you know that you could do it. So I hope you had a lovely day today, and I want to thank you for watching anyway. And yeah, I'm wishing you all the best with this, and see you in the next time. Bye bye.